What's up, guys? It's your boy Zach, aka That Bio Dude, coming at you live with the coolest, most informative, and funniest AP Bio videos that you'll find on the interweb. And today it's lecture 3 talking about lymph transport and immunity. So we're going to get right into it. The lymphatic system has 4 main functions. The lymphatic capillaries absorb excess tissue, fluid, and return it to the bloodstream. In the small intestines, lymphatic capillaries called lacteals absorb fats in the form of lipoproteins and transport them to the blood system. The lymphatic system is responsible for the production, maintenance, and distribution of lymphocytes, and also the lymphatic system helps defend the body against pathogens. A lot of people forget about the lymphatic system, but it's very important. So shout out to the lymphatic system. And on your body, we can find the lymphatic system is in your neck. You'll find the cervical nodes, the right lymphatic duct, which is this duct receives lymph that is filtered from the right arm, upper right side of the body. The thymus gland produces vital white blood cells. Thoracic duct, which you find in your thoracic cavity, is the main duct which receives lymph from the majority of lymph vessels. Cisterna chili, the lymph vessel which narrows into the thoracic duct, receives lymph from the lower body. And then the lymph vessel, many lymph vessels carry lymph from the tissues to the main lymphatic ducts through lymph nodes. You also have your popliteal lymph nodes. These nodes, which are situated behind your knees, filter lymph from the legs and the feet. Deep inguinal nodes, aka your groin, these nodes filter lymph from the lower part of the body. Peyer's patch, which is an area of lymphatic tissue in the intestines, are known as Peyer's patches. And then, of course, your spleen. This is the largest lymph organ in which certain types of lymphocytes, aka white blood cells, are manufactured. And then the subclavian vein, this vein which leads toward the heart, receives filtered lymph from the thoracic right lymphatic ducts. So there's non-specific defense against disease, and immunity begins with the non-specific defenses. Examples of non-specific defenses are skin, mucous membrane, oil glands, stomach acid, and many more. Several types of white blood cells are phagocytic, such as neutrophils and eosinophils, and of course macrophages and dendritic cells. All of these do a great job of killing pathogens and then stimulating the lymphatic system to create immunity. Natural killer cells are large cells in the lymphatic system to create immunity, and I just read that twice. We're going to keep rolling. Natural killer cells are large cells that kill virus-infected cells and cancer cells by cell-to-cell contact. Protective proteins, such as interferons and cytokines, are soluble proteins that affect the behavior of the cells. They are continually present in the blood plasma but must be activated by pathogens to exert their effects. And so, up on this picture here, you have the non-specific defenses, and then there's barriers to entry. Here on the left, skin and mucous membranes. And then there's protective proteins, and that brings you down to these complement proteins that are interneurons in plasma. Then you have your phagocytes and natural killer cells. You see those right down there. The dendritic cell, that's that cell-to-cell contact we talked about. And then, of course, you're going to have inflammatory response, which lets your body know that you're fighting a disease. More on the inflammatory response. Whenever a tissue is damaged by physical or chemical agents, pathogens, inflammatory response takes place. 4 signs for an inflamed area are redness, heat, swelling, and pain. These signs are due to capillary changes in the damaged area. On the bottom here, we have a picture that kind of talks about it, breaks it down into 4 main steps. So right away, injured tissue cells and mast cells release histamine, which causes capillaries to dilate and increases blood flow. Next, these macrophages and dendritic cells, which are right there and right here, and phagocytic pathogens and release cytokines, which stimulate the inflammatory response. Next, the neutrophils and monocytes become macrophages, squeeze through the capillary walls in phagocytic pathogens. And then last but not least, blood clotting walls off capillaries and prevents blood loss. Alright, now specific defense against disease. When non-specific defenses have not been good enough to stop an infection, specific defenses come into play. Immunity is not complete until a pathogen such as bacteria or a virus can no longer cause an infection now or in the future. It all starts with the recognition of an antibody. Left here on this picture is B cells, right is T cells. B cells are mature in bone marrow, and then the T cells are mature in thalamus. Both have a specific antigen receptors to help them do their job. So on the left here, antibody-mediated immunity, you have the B cells, which are getting on that plasma cell and getting the job done. And on the right, you have the T cells, which do a similar job but in a different way. Active versus passive. Active immunity occurs when an individual produces a supply of antibodies. For example, if you were to catch the measles, you'd recover because your body produces the antibodies that combine with the measles, causing viruses to destroy them. Another way to do this would be immunization, which involves the use of vaccines to counteract virus such as smallpox and polio, these things which have been curable for decades now. Passive immunity occurs when an individual is given prepared antibodies. It is short-lived. For example, breastfeeding gives an infant certain antibodies from the mother that it cannot produce on its own. Another example would be getting gamma globulin injection, a serum that contains antibodies to counteract infectious disease such as hepatitis A or even snake bites. Cytokinase in cancer therapy. Cytokinin means a soluble protein that acts as a signaling molecule, and because cytokinins stimulate WBCs, they have been studied as a possible adjunct therapy for cancer. I thought this process was very interesting. I saw a picture in the book, and the idea of it is it takes the antigen-present cells are removed from the patient. These cells are genetically engineered to have genes like to already be prepared to fight cancer, and these ABCs display tumor antigens right away, and they're genetically returned back to the patient, so it's already there to fight cancer before the cancer even happens. So I don't know if they've tried this yet, but I think this would be something cool, and I thought that was pretty interesting. And then immunity side effects, there's always side effects. There's tissue rejection. Rejection occurs because antibodies and cytotoxic T cells bring about destruction of foreign tissues in the body. One way to prevent this is a xenotransplantation, which is taking animal tissues and organs and putting them into humans. I thought that was pretty cool. Genetic engineering can make animal organs match better by removing harmful antigens. Autoimmune disease can be characterized by the failure of the immune system to distinguish between foreign antigens and self-antigens, which can result in problems such as rheumatoid arthritis, which is very painful. Allergies are hypersensitivities to substances such as pollen, food, or animal hair. Their response to these antigens are called allergens, can cause some degree of tissue damage. And that's it for this video on lymph transport and immunity. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you feel like it. See you later.